The Tigers are 10-point dogs in Tuscaloosa. So you're saying there's a chance.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Our intent was to eat. Our intent was to come eat and be hungry.
We're taking receipts, and we'll see you at the national championship.
I'll tell you what, there's not a chance of Brian Kelly seeing anyone at the national championship unless he has a ticket or a press credential. Here we go. This is crazy. It's Bama week. Let's get right into it. I'm Chad. You see my co-host Tyler there. Switching things up a little bit this week because we've got the big game, and it's LSU Bama. This, for, 2 decades was the game every year.
Sure.
But a decade and a half, let's say, and then
definitely the last 10 years.
Then it became Georgia, Alabama for a little stretch there. That has become the game. But yeah, this is the big one, and it's not nearly as big as it could have been if Brian Kelly's hype that he built this season up with had lived up to itself. But here's the crazy part, Tyler. I actually feel better about our chances in this game than I did 2 weeks ago when Brian Kelly was still the coach. I feel like there's this little quiet, constant heartbeat of, I don't know that I think that they're probably in the Alabama locker room. There's probably some buzz and some murmur from the coaches that look, guys, do not take this lightly. These guys are going to come to play. But I still feel like I feel like people are sleeping on LSU right now. We'll see. We'll see how it turns out. We have not seen them in action since the Brian Kelly firing. It came going into a bye week, so perfect timing for that. It's ultimately going to come down to how serious is Frank Wilson and Alex Atkins, the new offensive coordinator and the new head coach. How serious are they about recommitting to the run game? Because if there is an Achilles heel for this Alabama defense, it is their inability to consistently stop the run. And it seems like a weakness on weakness thing, right? Where LSU has not been able to run the ball, or so it seems. But if you look at the numbers, LSU's averaging 6 yards a carry in their last 5 games when they run the ball. They just don't run the ball. So why don't we run the ball? And there's a commitment from this group. Alex Atkins, the offensive line coach who is coming in to take over play calling duties for Joe Sloan, who loved to throw tunnel screens and flanker screens and bubble screens and everything else, everything that you can possibly do to avoid throwing to the middle of the field or running the ball. That's what Joe Sloan was doing. And you go back to Alex Atkins. We played Florida State opening week, the year they went 12-0 when Jordan Travis blew his leg up. They ran counter 17 times in that game. So I'm just waiting to see, how serious are they going to be about letting Harlan Berry and Caden Durham do their thing behind that big offensive line? Because I don't think this offensive line is lacking in talent or capability. I think that the whole ethos of that offense has been let Garrett Nussmeier somehow put the whole team on his back. And I think it was just asking too much, especially with an offensive line that struggles the most against elite pass rushers off the edge. So LSU comes into this with the 121st run game in the country. Alabama's not much better at 103rd in the country, but Alabama is 63rd stopping the run. And when they have had teams actually commit to the run game, they have struggled. Florida State did it in week 1, and they've had some other struggles in the first half against Missouri, in the first half against Vanderbilt. Both of those teams got away from their run game in the second half. If LSU can remain committed to it, regardless of where the game is, where the score is, unlike what they did against Texas A&M. Against Texas A&M, came out, ran the ball very effectively, had a 4-point lead going into the half, came out in the second half and barely ran the ball. I don't understand. And Brian Kelly tried to explain it away like, well, yeah, we got a couple of 3 and outs and we gave up a couple of touchdowns. The score got away from us and yada, yada. Well, yeah, you know why you went 3 and out? You didn't freaking run the ball. So anyway, we're going to see. It's just this is definitely one of those wait and see games. Ty Simpson in that passing game been very prolific, but LSU comes in boasting the number 7 pass defense in the country. Or I'm sorry, the number 34 pass. Bama has the number 7 pass defense in the country. Yet another reason why you should commit to the run game if you're LSU. And so what I'm looking at for this one too is what LSU has struggled the most against on defense is guys like Marcel Reed, guys like Diego Pavia, who have that uncanny ability to turn a negative play into a positive gain running the ball and break off a 20, 40, 50-yard touchdown run on you. Ty Simpson is not that guy. Not to say that he's not mobile, but he's not that athletic. And so if you can keep him in the pocket and then collapse that pocket around him and get a pass rush around him, I think LSU can slow down that passing game. And the other way that you slow it down, run the ball, run the ball, run the ball. Get that crowd out of it. So that's the way I see it. That's the only chance LSU has. Hopefully they can keep it under this 10-point number. Started off, I think, at 11.5, and it's come down. I've seen numbers as low as 9.5. Not sure what Vegas is seeing there, but that's the way it goes down. And I don't even want to put out a prediction on this game because I don't want to jinx it. But I feel better, like I said, than I did 2 weeks ago when Brian Kelly was still here.
I think you got to go plus in the turnover margin in this game against Bama because you got to create more possessions because they like their play is just to keep you on your offense on the sideline the whole game and convert third down on top of third down. And you're right, Ty Simpson is not like Jalen Milroe,
right?
But he definitely can scramble and get find guys downfield, and he can extend plays with his legs and pick up a first down when necessary. So you definitely have to honor that. You can't get too far afield because he will slip out. And yeah, I think that committing to the run, I think, is important for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
You can run on the Alabama defense. We did too.
Yeah, you ran for over 200 yards against them.
We ran on them. You need to run on them. Make it interesting. Like that's like the thing. It's like you have the State of the Union of LSU, like commit and try to. This is still your rival.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be taking this game away from us as like your permanent rival eventually.
Right.
As a year-on year-out basis. So why don't you go steal one? You have to go to Tuscaloosa, which you have said you guys have a better record at, which is insane. It's still crazy.
Yeah.
That like you guys have a better record. It's a night game in Tuscaloosa. Why not go make it interesting? Why not go mess up Alabama's playoff, positioning? Why not just ruin the season of the last couple of, teams you got to play? That's what you guys are playing for. You guys are playing for, you guys are like marketing yourselves as like to new head coaches now too. Like, hey, players, who, do you want to keep looking like a good destination for? Because right now LSU is the top job.
Yeah.
As far as like, the hot boards and who's gonna, what coaching, positions are out there. LSU's an number one job. So I think going out there making a statement against Bama and Tuscaloosa would be massive.
Mm-hmm. And I look, we're not here for moral victories, but what you want to make sure you don't do is get embarrassed again, like you did 2 weeks ago at home against Texas A&M, like you did last year at home with Alabama, where
I don't think that
they are taking over your stadium. What you want to do is you want to go in there and make it to where if Alabama gets out of there alive, they're bleeding.
Yeah. I think if it was Brian Kelly, you guys were going to be walking in to get curb stomped. Yeah. But I think that without him, I think things would be a little bit different with the culture.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It would be a little bit different fire, like you said.
Right. And Frank Wilson started off the bye week preparation with playing the air raid sirens from Pearl Harbor. And it was like, hey, back to back, shoulder to shoulder. We either nobody's coming out of this alive or we are. You know,
That's how you gotta be.
that kind of mentality.
That's LSU football, man. Like that's
Yeah.
like, like you've always talked about like the players saying like, especially preparing for this game specifically, it's more preparation they do in the NFL. Like this 2-week period of preparing for Alabama, it's different.
Yep.
So yeah, I would love to see y'all go in there and mess up. It made me very happy. That's for sure. There's a lot of. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Finish with your point.
Just a lot of like with these lines this week. There's a lot of like Vegas seeing who they can tempt to take some of these like just over a touchdown spreads with some of these underdogs. It's very fascinating to see. Like,
yeah,
a lot has to go right.
And the other thing, so like to me the key that kind of tilts the scales further towards LSU is if you had Whit Weeks healthy. I don't know, like the fact that he was still in a boot and he was doubtful a couple of days ago. He got upgraded to questionable. It's not looking good. That's really outside of Gabriel Relaford, who was out for the year several weeks ago, and Tyree Adams, who got hurt against Vanderbilt and is not going to be back anytime soon. You're otherwise pretty healthy outside of Whit Weeks. But Whit Weeks is a huge look at the offensive production that the defense has given up to Vanderbilt and Texas A&M back-to-back games without Whit Weeks in the lineup. It's a big deal. And it sucks because I wonder what things would have been like against Vanderbilt. I don't know about Texas A&M because that game got so out of hand so early in the third quarter that I don't know that I can't say like, oh man, if Whit Weeks would have been, but Vanderbilt, absolutely. Because there were a couple of plays where they let Diego Pavia leak, and I don't know that Whit Weeks allows that to happen. And and the game plan is a little different too. I think maybe what you call might be a little bit different. When the number one corner is out there and you just don't even throw to him, and then he goes. This happened to LSU a few years back against Alabama. It's Julio Jones and Patrick Peterson going toe to toe, and Peterson was like locking him up all game, and then Peterson got a cramp in his calf. Went to the sideline for one play. Next play, they go right at his replacement, hit Julio Jones on the sideline for like a little flanker screen, and he takes it to the house. Like, I wonder if Clark Lee called a different game with Whit Weeks out of the lineup. And so anyway, just to say that Whit Weeks being in the lineup this week would be huge if he's 100%, if he's healthy enough to actually get around and get things done. If he's not, then I would say you just hold him until the Oklahoma game. I don't know. Maybe you try to bring him back against Arkansas, but I would lean towards holding him out until he's 100% healthy so he can play against Oklahoma. And the other thing is too, like when you have this kind of back against the wall mentality, what are we doing? Are we trying to make sure that we stay bowl eligible? We're going to beat Western Kentucky. We should beat Arkansas. So you should be 7-3 with those games. And then, I guess 6 of them count because Southeastern is not an FBS opponent, but you want to try to win this game against Alabama. You want to try to definitely beat Arkansas, and you want to beat Oklahoma in the season finale. But you want to do it like playing your ball. Like we don't want to go out there trying not to lose, trying to remain respectable. You got to go out there trying to swing for the fences and take Alabama down.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes LSU very dangerous because if you are not worried about, okay, if we turn the ball over or if we give up a big play, but we're being aggressive, so be it. We'll live and die with that. But we are not going to try to limit the damage by being passive.
Yeah, no doubt.
That's what I'm looking for. And we'll see that very early on Saturday. You guys have a little bit of an easier matchup, although as we have seen in weeks past, it is not a pushover. I'm sure they're pissed off that it's 11 a.m., but it is what it is.
Yeah, and we're lucky it's 11 a.m. So here's the thing, right? It's like this is like, Vegas is setting a trap right now with that 9-point line, knowing that both of us have been in like 4 to 5 one-score
One-possession
conference
games,
games, one-possession games this year. Like that's just the truth. We've won them, they've lost them, and so like they're setting a trap to get everybody on Mississippi State with this. That's what's happening there.
Mhm.
We have Texas in a week, so everybody's also probably thinking that we're going to be looking ahead. If there's one thing that I can guarantee in life is that Kirby Smart does not let that happen. Kirby Smart does not let people get too high. Kirby Smart does not let people get too low. I think it's been said very well that like even when we don't have our best rosters, especially now, like that championship DNA is still built into our team.
Mhm.
That we still know how to win. Like knowing how to win with what you got is the most important thing in the world than a $20 million roster, right? And so we've been squeaking out these wins. So be it. It's sometimes we've been playing a lot of these second half games with the second half adjustments by Kirby. Brandon Walker will be in town, and everybody will be down there for in Starkville. Cowbells are gonna be ringing.
Cowbells, yeah.
My thought though is Mississippi State going to be riding too high now? Because my fear would have been a little bit higher if they had not broken the seal on their first SEC win in 2
Mhm.
years. My other thing is that Blake Shapen can get very, very rattled. And also that offensive line does give up sacks in big moments. He's taken 29 sacks so far this year.
Mhm.
We do have to honor their run game. Fluff Bothwell, Devon Booth, both very good running backs. They've combined for 865 and 13 touchdowns. But luckily, we have the 14th best run defense in the country. Giving up less than 100 yards a game. It's like in like the mid 90s right now. They're a very big play action team, however. So like we can't have what happened. Like our secondary has to stay disciplined. We cannot get our eyes stuck in the backfield. One wrinkle they were throwing in last week against who did they play? Arkansas. And I don't know if it was because like Chapin got hurt for like a series, but they have this freshman Kamario Taylor at quarterback who's like big, tall, can throw the ball very well. So it's supposed to be very good, and they're keeping him on the shelf like just for now. But like I'm like worried like if they put this guy in the game, like we need to be kind of prepared for that. And I'm sure Kirby is because he, is one of the most prepared guys in college football, in my opinion. So all that to be said, I like us here. Like I'm gonna like us every week because this is my team and this is our team.
Mhm.
But I think that the public is going to be very heavy on Mississippi State, and let it be very clear. Chad can attest to this. I've been a Mississippi State believer this entire year,
Yeah.
but the believing stops now. Sorry, little bro. Sorry, little bro. I gotta do it to you. I would love us to just stop a mud hole in these guys and leave no doubt. We haven't done that yet this year against like a quote unquote inferior opponent, but I think it's because like this is one of our rosters where we're just not that far ahead of everybody this year. I think it's that winning culture and that winning game planning that has brought us the most success so far.
Mhm.
So I think Bobo's been calling better games. We need to spread the ball around, keep the tight ends involved in the offense. And we need to get home on Shapen because you can rattle his cage if you
Mhm.
get off rhythm. Like that's what that Texas pass rush, is what got them back into the game and the special teams. But Texas pass rush got them back in the game. And that's the other thing too. We have the other thing that special teams is what killed them with that Ryan Niblett punt return. Listen, Zachariah Branch is a dangerous return man. I would love to see us crib one. He's always live to take one back. He hasn't done it yet this year, but I would love to see it happen. So yeah, defensive discipline, getting guys on the ground early. Don't get eyes stuck in the backfield if you're a safety. Like if you're playing deep half, take deep half. Like we can't get the ball thrown
Yeah.
over our heads. Like that's
Right.
literally how Florida scored the touchdowns and could have beat us last week. So yeah, we got to walk into to Starkville, put belt to ass, and get out of there. If we're in a dogfight, well, we've been so good at it this year, it's nothing new.
So you said dogfight before I did. I'm just going to put it out there that you made the bad pun first.
Yeah, ha 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 ha. It's literally a dogfight. It's just like when y'all play Auburn, how the Tigers are going to win. Great.
Yeah,
The Bulldogs are going to come out with a victory
Or Missouri.
no matter what. Or Missouri. The Bulldogs are going to come out with a victory no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, disciplined. And that was like the same thing last year, too. It just can't – like, we have dudes. And, I for the most part, I trust Glenn Schumann's defensive game planning. So sometimes it comes down to making a tackle or just just honoring your assignment. Like, just do what do your job.
Mm-hmm.
Do your job. And I think
it's crazy how much that becomes like the thing in so many games. It's uncanny, but it literally can be that simple where when someone tries to overcompensate for something that they think someone else is slipping on, and that's the gap that they leave open, and that's the gap that the guy ends up running through. And
we gave up a one-play touchdown drive last week because the safety that was deep saw Lagway kind of go out to his right.
Started cheating up, and he thought he was going to break off.
You're not gonna sack him. Like
you're not going to stop him from getting more than 10 yards. You're not going to get him for under a 10-yard gain.
Down,
so just let him get the first down, but make sure he doesn't throw it over your head for a touchdown.
Right. I was like, what's worse, a first down or a touchdown? You tell me, dude.
Yeah.
Like, come on. Like,
because you ain't stopping him behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage.
You're not getting a TFL there. You personally are. That's not happening.
Yeah, he's 25 yards downfield.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, you have to. You're gonna run 25 before 100%. He runs 10. No, like 100%. That's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
So anyway, discipline. I think we travel well. Like, I don't think like the road environment gets the best of us too much. I'll be honest with you. I think like once again, benefits having Kirby Smart as your coach. I wouldn't be shocked if we've had Cal Bellnoises playing at practice this week. I don't know. I would have to look into that. But I like us. I think that especially this being 11 a.m. local time kickoff is big for us.
Mm-hmm.
Is big for us. And so I think I wouldn't be shocked if Mississippi State covers that number, but I'm sure that I think this is one of the traps that Vegas has set where we just boat race them. And I would love that to be the case.
Well, one that I feel pretty confident isn't going to be a boat race at all is this one. This is probably the biggest matchup this weekend, and it's going to be the first time that you're able to put a Big 12, a non-Big 10, non-SEC, and I don't even want to say non-ACC because I don't know when there's been an ACC game that has had this much pull. But this is number 7
for sure.
This is number 7 versus number 8 in the most recent.
Like a de facto Big 12 playoff game.
Yeah,
like,
right. Well, so and that's the part that's interesting about this is I'm going to take this opportunity to rant a little bit about the selection committee process. Okay, why are these two teams ranked number 7 and number 8? The answer is because
they don't know what to do with them.
They don't know what to do with them, and they just want an excuse to make whoever wins this game stay in the top 10.
Yep.
And to push whoever loses this game to number 12, 15, somewhere in that range. Because that's what's going to happen. Watch. Whoever loses this game is going to be number 15. And even if it's BYU, because they're just going to be like, yep, you know what? We thought you were number 7 with your undefeated record, but you lost. So now you're not. You're nowhere close. Like, do you believe that this is how good this team is, or do you not? And how does losing a road game to the number 8 team make you fall that far? But they will. They will fall. Watch. Trust me, they're going to plummet. And Texas Tech is favored by 10 in this game, which to me is kind of crazy. This is another one, like you were talking about. Like, what are these lines? I get it.
We've been proven wrong before. Like, we asked that question before, and we got told.
Look, and we were dead wrong on a couple of games last week. So it is what it is. But it's just like something is funky here. And so either what do they know or what are they trying to dupe us with is the big question. But Texas Tech comes in with a really good defense. Okay, don't get me wrong. This is an absolutely exceptional defense. Number 1 against the run, number 40 against the pass. One of the best defenses in the country. Now, the competition that they've played, not necessarily on the level of, they're not playing the top teams in the SEC or the Big Ten, but their numbers are what they are, right? BYU, on the other hand, comes in with the 35th best running offense, the 72nd best passing offense. So there's some opportunities. All right, so the dogs have been barking all morning, so that tells me maybe there are some underdogs brewing in some of these games. Luckily, you guys are dogs, so it shouldn't affect you. But the big thing where I see a mismatch here is, okay, so you've got a really good BYU run game, but Texas Tech has the best run defense in the country. The difference is going to be how much of that is stopping Bear Bachmeier and like this unconventional running game that they have. Because with him and LJ Martin, it's like this weird 1-2 punch of a running back that's averaging 6 yards a carry, but only has 5 touchdowns, but then a quarterback that's averaging 4 yards a carry and has 9 touchdowns, 2 fewer rushing touchdowns than he has passing touchdowns, and he's a quarterback. And it's not like doesn't throw the ball. He has 1,700 yards passing, but he only has 11 touchdowns throwing the ball in the year. Only thrown 3 picks, so they're a very efficient offense, very effective offense. But that's the one where I see, like, is the RPO game, the read option game, going to be able to give that Texas Tech run defense enough trouble that BYU will be able to stay ahead of the chains and get some sort of ground rhythm? Not saying they're going to run for 200 yards, but if they can be a somewhat balanced attack, because Bear Bachmeier is not the guy who's going to light you up in the air. He can throw it a little bit, but he ain't that guy who's going to light it up. And Texas Tech has a really good pass defense. Now, on the flip side of things, Texas Tech runs the ball pretty well, around the same type of rushing attack as BYU, 37th in the country. They are the 17th best passing offense in the country, and that's where BYU is a little bit vulnerable. They're middle of the pack against the run and the pass. Their defense is solid, not spectacular. It's going to come down to turnovers and whether or not BYU can do that dual threat with Bear Bachmeier to actually keep Texas Tech on their toes. But look, man, Baron Morton is a stud, and 1750, 15 touchdowns, 4 picks on the year. That's where I see Texas Tech getting it done, is through the air. You do have a very established, a solid running game with Cameron Dickey, going for over 700 yards and 10 touchdowns on the year. So you have some balance on that Texas Tech offense. I think ultimately Texas Tech's defense wins out. I do think that number is high, though. Even though it's at home for Texas Tech. I don't know, man. Something about Kalani Sitake that just makes me think he's going to come ready to play and give Texas Tech all they can handle. It's going to be interesting, though. If this game ends up within a field goal, are they really going to – is the selection committee really going to have the balls to push
somebody that far,
the loser of this game down the standings 3-4 points, so that they can make room for Texas, who is inexplicably number 11 in their committee standings, despite losing to Florida, despite looking putrid the whole first half of the season. They have one good showing against Vanderbilt, and now all of a sudden we're going to just crown them king of all 2 lost teams. It's very bizarre. But the other one that's up there that shouldn't be up there is Notre Dame, because Notre Dame has played 2 tough games all year and they lost both of them. So why are they where they are? But Texas Tech and BYU apparently are playing for their playoff lives, because I don't know if this game goes, one team wins it and then they play each other again for the Big 12 championship, and the winner of this game wins again. It might knock the loser out.
Right.
Because 2 losses, even though they're against the same team.
Yeah, even though they claim that like the loss in the conference championship doesn't affect people. Like, that's what I mean. And this is like BYU was in the spot last year too. Like they were in the playoff until they lost their first game.
Yep.
Like, okay, see ya. Okay, glad
this is what they do. This is what they do.
We don't have to deal with you. Like whatever. It's like they're just waiting. They're just begging for reasons to not include certain teams. And this is very clear. This is what they're ready to do.
Yeah. So the point I was making is, when you know this game is coming this week, if you put them at 7 and 8, then the outcome of this game should not change where they are relative to each other all that much unless it's a blowout one way or the other.
Flip the numbers. Make the other one 7, the other one 8 next week. There you go.
What are we doing? Like, it's
Like,
just stupid.
If they're that close before the game and they're just not that close that after, like, what are we saying?
Right.
Like, they should still be the same ranking if they're playing each other.
Yep.
Like, that's just like how that works, in my opinion.
Yep.
We got a big one. This is the most like, it's like, who's gonna budge? Like, what factor is gonna matter more? The battered Aggie syndrome, Texas A&M, they're 8-0, or we're Mizzou and we are supposed to be good and we got them coming to our house and we're gonna lose anyway. Like, what's gonna give? Like, there's both of those things. Like, Mizzou welcomed Alabama a few weeks ago. They lost. This is now Mizzou off a bye. Very fun situation. Mizzou off a bye with a backup quarterback, Zollers, who almost won them the Vanderbilt game.
Yeah.
So he's very good. This is what I could tell. You got Texas.
He's not Bo Perbula though. Like,
he is not, but he could maybe do a little bit. Texas A&M's also off a bye without Le'Veon Moss still, but that's fine because Ruben Owens is still toting the rock pretty well. I just like I think the public is going to jump heavy on Mizzou because it's where this line is at. It's hard to explain Mizzou still a top 10 rushing attack, averaging over 235.5 yards. Mizzou's 7th best pass defense in the country, 11th best statistical run defense in the country, and 5th overall statistical best defense in the country. Texas A&M is middling, not middling. They're like top third in most stats. I think that passing attack is deadly though. I think if you if Mizzou commits to stopping one or the other, like, they're gonna get beat, right? When you have a quarterback like Marcel Reed. However, Mizzou was able to get their defense was able to gain ground late in Alabama game against Alabama and Ty Simpson, and I think Marcel Reed is can make mistakes if you can rattle his cage and get to him a little bit. However, that read option is in my opinion pretty deadly. So it's just about Mizzou's defense playing a complete game that they're capable of doing, mind you, and the offense kind of having to find the points, without the starting quarterback. It's a weird situation. It's like I said, what's gonna matter more? 8-0 Texas A&M wanting to be 9-0 Texas A&M, or Mizzou, where we've picked them historically in spots like this to be the spoiler.
Yeah. Yeah, well, and the other thing, Tyler, you froze, but the other thing that's interesting in this game. Oh, there you are.
You're back. Okay. I clipped out a little bit.
Yep. All right. So Tyler is a little frozen.
Okay,
so I'll keep things going until you get okay. He's a little bit back now. I think he's
good.
Back.
All right, keep it rolling. We're good. Keep it rolling.
Yeah. So no, I was just gonna say that it's Texas A&M piss down your leg season because it is finally November. Unfortunately, LSU did not get Texas A&M in November. We got them in October, so it wasn't time yet. But this is the time of year where, look, they're only 8-0. Texas 8-4 is still live. I don't think it's going to happen this year. I got faith in you, Aggies, but we will hold out hope that it's still not over yet. But Mizzou, I just don't see it as good as Missouri's defense and their running game is. With the Perbula injury, I don't know. I mean, we'll see. Maybe this kid can come in and get it done.
I want to roll with A&M.
What's that?
I want to roll with A&M. I was trying to convince myself to not just take the chalk, but I like A&M until I'm proven otherwise.
I actually think this line's a little low. If I'm being honest.
I think A&M.
I think A&M has a chance to blow the doors off of them.
Mm-hmm. So. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I didn't know where you were going to land, but I was just I don't know. Texas A&M might be for real now. They have the right coach and
for real. They got Tommy Moffitt, man. They have that man has built 3 national champions.
Yeah,
with 3 different head coaches.
Yep.
He got Saban his first national championship. He got Les Miles his only national championship, and he got Ed Ogeron the national championship in 2019. So damn you, Brian Kelly, for letting him go. Not just letting him go, but like firing him and making him leave in the rain.
Yeah.
What a jerk.
So crazy.
Anyway, moving right along, we have I don't know. It's like, is this like the equivalent of that game where it's
It is the equivalent of that. No, no. All of these games, in a way, are very similar. Where like everybody's trying to see the upset and manifest an upset.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're in. This is in Iowa, Iowa City. This is it's going to be shitty weather from what I can tell. Like it's going to be cold. It's going to be raining. It's going to be good prime Midwest Big Ten weather here in November. And I think people are trying to really heavily discount the Penn State win for Oregon, while also like putting a lot of stock in the fact they lost to Indiana. Indiana, I think, is just good. But then that also takes away the fact that Oregon doesn't have a quality win at this point if you're going to take away the Penn State win. But here's the thing is, where is Iowa going to put up the points? Like, Iowa has like a solid defense. They always will. But this is like a Oregon by 50 scenario, in my opinion, unless, there was, I remember, like, and it could be a tight game. Like, if it's close, oh, well. Like, I think that Oregon still comes out on top, even if it's close, because they have the dudes to do it. That's just the bottom line.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to overthink this one too much.
No, look,
I'm
just wondering if I'm crazy,
like,
or something, because I get it. Iowa's defense, giving
their
up
offense
13.
still stinks.
They're giving up 13 points a game. Oregon's defense giving up 13 points a game. But are they completely missing the fact that these two offenses are averaging like 72 points a game combined? Like Iowa's offense is actually good this year.
That's true. Yeah, I was just
putting up 31 a game. They're like a middle of the pack offense.
Yeah.
They're not like damn near dead last. Pretty good. Good job, guys. You're not punting all the time. But Oregon's offense is hanging like 500 a game on people. So Iowa's got this 31 point a game scoring offense, but they're doing it by turning people over, scoring on short fields, kicking field goals.
Yep.
They're only averaging 320 yards a game as an offense, like 234th out of 300 something teams. How they are scoring 31 points a game, it's like a combination of special teams scores,
they can actually throw the ball now.
Scores. Yeah, well, but I'm saying, but they're still. You say they can throw the ball now. They're averaging 132 yards passing a game.
It's more than 100 yards, which is more than what most Iowa teams can say.
Anyway, so I'm looking at am I crazy? But the over under is 41 and a half. I know.
Yeah, dude, it's close.
What?
Yeah, they're
as much as I want to go like Iowa under, not here. No, I'm taking the over, and it might all be Oregon. Oregon might hit the over by themselves.
Yes.
Because I don't think Iowa's defense is as good as the numbers show them to be, because this Iowa defense, they gave up 28 to Rutgers. They only gave up 20 to Indiana, which that was a very impressive loss.
The 2015 loss is pretty impressive.
Yeah. And they gave up 24 to Penn State and barely eked out a victory against a Penn State team that was about to fire their coach.
Yep.
Already you and I asked the question the week before it happened, if it was time to fire James Franklin before they lost to Iowa. So
no, he got fired before Iowa. He got fired
before Iowa. Oh, it was Northwestern
Iowa was their first game without him.
Okay, he got fired. He got fired before. So actually, all right. Well, then that's a little bit more impressive then, because you're right. Yeah. So they actually put up 24 points on Iowa when they were actually playing like they cared, but they were doing it without Drew Aller. So I just don't know how good this defense actually is, because beating Wisconsin 37-0 doesn't mean anything to me. Wisconsin's terrible. Beating Minnesota 41-3 doesn't mean anything. Minnesota is also terrible. Rutgers, okay, but they're not. And you gave up 28 points. Your other games, you gave up a touchdown to UMass. You gave up a touchdown to Albany, but you gave up 16 to Iowa State. None of this so far, outside of holding Indiana to 20 points, screams the defense is incredible. I expect Oregon to I think that Oregon could run it up on them in this game.
I'm with you. That's how I feel too. Like, I think that Oregon can absolutely run it up on them. The only way that Iowa can be in this game is if they keep it make it like a rock fight, like that 20-13 loss. It was 2015. It was 2013, and Indiana took the intentional safety.
Right.
But yeah, that's kind of how I see it too. Like, I think people are trying to once again manifest like this random upset for Oregon, where everything still points to Oregon, in my opinion. I think but however, if Iowa wins, then we got to start asking a lot of questions about this Oregon team.
Yes, about the Oregon team, and also I got to give. I will tip my hat. Look, I will go get it right now. Hang on, and I will wear this hat next week on the show.
He's getting his hat, folks.
I will break this bad boy out, and I will wear it proudly the whole show if Iowa can pull this upset off. Okay.
Did that hat come with the matching starter jacket to go with it?
No, it did not. But it was about that era. It was in the 90s. I bought this hat
with all the sick Nike, like the sick
yes.
yeah. Like the good designs for college football apparel, in my opinion, still. But yeah, give me Oregon until. And like I said, if not, then we got to ask ourselves questions like, is Oregon even legitimate if they don't win this game? That's something we have to ask ourselves for real. Because Kirk Ferentz is just going to keep plugging along and kind of like, oh, we're playing Oregon this week. Okay. I guess we'll see what happens. It's just kind of like where we're at. Like, seriously, it's like, oh, that's neat. We get to play Oregon. That Midwest Iowa team. Oh, wonderful. How nice will it be to host the Oregon Ducks?
Right, yay! Exactly. Guys, look, we left some muffins at the front desk.
Yeah, it's like, welcome. Happy to have you. We're bowl eligible, already. So
we already made
for
it.
us.
We don't have to worry about anything anymore.
But hey, you never know. It's like, it's 3:30 game, Iowa wave in the cold and the rain. You never know. Crazy things have happened.
Yeah, they got to travel to California for USC next week. They did have a bye going into this game, so there's a chance. I don't see it though. I just do not see it, and I could see this is the spot where I see. We talk about Texas 8-4 all the time. Iowa, until proven otherwise, is a 7-4, 8-4 football team.
Yep.
And this game against Oregon would give them a third loss. Next week at USC could be a fourth loss. They still have Nebraska to round out the season. I don't think they should have any trouble at home against Michigan State in a couple of weeks, but that Thanksgiving week Nebraska showdown, the Corn Farmers Bowl is going to be another opportunity for this Iowa team to cough one up. And I don't know, we'll see. But I think we're in agreement that Oregon should walk away with this one. Another walk-away win should be Indiana at Penn State. This, I think, is Penn State's final opportunity to do something, put their foot in the ground and say, we're not moving anymore. I just don't think they have enough to stop Indiana.
No, I don't disagree. And I got to find this. Okay, so it's official. Excuse me. Vegas has declared that playing in Happy Valley is exactly worth 3 points because Ohio State had Penn State in Columbus last weekend. It was minus 17.5. And I think that Indiana is they might be just as good as Ohio State. We don't know until they play each other, but they're number 2 team in the country, right?
Yep.
And so they go to Happy Valley, and the line is minus 14.5. And like I said, I don't feel like wasting a lot of people's time. I think it's Indiana belt to ass.
Yep.
I see it in zero other ways. I think the stadium will be emptying out at halftime. I saw a comment under one of Josh Pate's videos that says, if you want to beat the traffic at a Penn State game, wait to stay for the entire game. That's true. It's unfortunate because it's once again a lot of the games on Penn State. Like it's actually really sad. It's actually incredibly sad and crazy to see like how far Penn State has fallen down this year.
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, they're just gonna blow it like that. It's the preseason national championship. By the way, I called them frauds before the season start. Just saying.
Yep.
Just saying, sniff that. Not. I didn't think it was gonna be to this extent. Like by any means,
No.
like the coach getting fired, starting quarterback being out for the season. Like
Yeah, we were thinking like sneak into the playoffs by not playing in the Big Ten championship, and then find your way into maybe win one game in the first
win
round
this game
at home. Yeah,
like maybe even win this game if they played it right. But yeah, I sniffed them out as frauds from the start of the season. I thought the hype was insane. I almost whatever, but yeah, this is unfortunately Indiana belt to ass, and we're gonna keep it moving, Chad.
That's right. So this is an interesting game because John Sumrall 2 weeks ago when LSU fired Brian Kelly immediately rose to like near the surface, near the top of the cream of the crop of coaching candidates who could be in line for whether it's the LSU job, the Florida job. Now he's being talked about for the Auburn job with Hugh Freeze getting fired. But before Hugh Freeze got fired, John Sumrall played his first game after being mentioned as a candidate for other jobs and having to kind of deflect and do the denial type of interviews with folks where he just talks about coaching his team and trying to keep them from listening to all the noise. Well, they did listen. They definitely listened to the noise because UTSA came into New Orleans and beat the piss out of Tulane Thursday or Friday. Night game, prime time, all the lights are on you, and Retzlaff looked like he was backpedaling the whole game, throwing picks left and right, just had a terrible game. Meanwhile, Memphis, as they announced the new playoff standings, Memphis has now jumped into the number one spot of the group of five conference leaders. And if they keep going at the rate that they're going, Memphis could actually find themselves in a spot in the playoffs. And you and I both think that Memphis is a bit of a fraud. They're sitting there at 8-1. They have this game against Tulane. They've got at East Carolina and then Navy to round out the season. And then they've got their conference championship in the American Athletic Conference. And we'll see where that all shapes out. But Tulane has a chance and John Sumrall has a chance to kind of redeem things, turn things around, put Memphis out of the playoff hunt and put themselves potentially back into it. They're still, you've got some other teams out there, South Florida and a few others that could make an argument. But Tulane went from being like that darling to now they're fighting to try to ruin Memphis' season and maybe get themselves back in the conversation. I see Memphis winning this game. I think Tulane's got a shot. If Tulane's going to win this game, it's going to be stopping Memphis's running attack and Retzlaff playing. They've got to protect him to where he can play with a little bit more freedom in his feet, to where he can actually lean into some throws. Because when he's able to play his best game, he can be pretty good. But when he's not, when he's backpedaling and under pressure, it's tough. And Memphis does actually have a pretty decent pass rush. They're not great against the pass, but they get after the quarterback, and so it could get ugly in that direction. But that's about all we need to say about that one. It's just one of those group of five. We got to watch it to see what happens, because one of these two teams could be in the playoff. So
yep, I have nothing more to say.
Moving right along. Navy Notre Dame. I would love to say that Navy has a chance in this game. I mean, they do have the number one running attack in the country. Seems like they always do. But it's not like Notre Dame is bad running the ball. This could be one of those games where I wouldn't be surprised if we see like 500 combined rushing yards.
Jeremiah Love 250-yard rushing game coming in hot.
The problem for Navy is Notre Dame boasts the number 11 rush defense in the country. Yep. Now, you could probably look at their schedule and say, well, they haven't played outside of those first two matchups where they came up short. And granted, they were both close losses. to Miami and Texas A&M. But outside of that, they haven't faced the type of rushing attack that Navy's going to bring. I just don't see it. Navy cannot throw the ball. They're the 125th best pass offense. And if you can't throw the ball and you can't stop CJ Carr from throwing the ball because you have the 117th best pass defense, then that balanced attack that Notre Dame has is going to mean that they're going to have to just pick their poison with where they put their numbers, because they're either going to get roasted in the air or Jeremiah Love and company are going to be Price. Those guys are just going to be running all over them. And CJ Carr a little bit too. I see this being a pretty, you see the spread right there, 26 and a half.
So
it may not get that ugly, but it could get pretty ugly.
So I say year to year out, how does Notre Dame get to play the same schedule they played in the 60s? Like, I just don't. I don't get it. Like, why does Notre Dame, just for tradition's sake, just get to play Navy every year? Can we play Sewanee or the men's athletic club of Greater Athens?
Right.
Like every year, can we play the YMCA?
So you came at me last year for disrespecting the military academies.
No,
that's disrespectful right there.
Okay.
This Navy is not Sewanee
my point being that if there's still a point there, and that the Navy is not like there was a world where these teams were just as good as each other, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
There was once a world where Navy would beat Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm. And Navy would win the national championship.
Right.
And Army would win the national championship.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And once again, all love to our service academies. I believe in them in the past. I love when the service academies are good at football. I think it's great for college football. It's super fun to watch, right? Absolutely, 1,000%.
Right.
But I'm still sticking by the point I just made, where Notre Dame gets essentially a freebie built into their schedule every year for tradition's sake, is what I'm getting at. Just because that's just how the everything is diverged. You don't have Roger Staubach, dying to play to serve his country, win a Heisman Trophy, and then go play in the NFL. That's just not how it's happening nowadays. We're just once again, the service academies, very important for our country, and it's awesome they get to do what they do. Army, Navy, one of the best things in sports. But I'm still sticking by the point I just made. I don't take it back.
And so
I say that with respect. I still think the Navy is a good football team, respective of their own conference and their regular level of competition. That is 1,000% true.
Right.
But these two teams have not been on the same level for a very, very, very long time.
Right. So, and I will say, I've been a little disrespectful of Notre Dame's schedule, and I still think that when you look at the way that they are treated differently from so many other schools, their schedule is such. Okay, at Miami to open the season, they lose by a field goal, and Miami has looked really good, and then these last few weeks they have not looked so good. So take that one with whatever size grain of salt you feel like you need to, right? Then Notre Dame had an off week to get ready to play Texas A&M at home in South Bend, and they lose that one 41-40. Well, now look at what A&M has done, in a 41-40 loss, even though it's at home, doesn't seem all that bad, because Texas A&M is beating the competition running away most games, right? They beat Purdue, not that impressive. They beat the brakes off of Arkansas, and Arkansas, that's not a bad Arkansas team. So that's actually a somewhat impressive blowout win, 56-13. And you and I talked about, it looked like Arkansas had 6 people on the field on some of those plays.
Dude, I'm telling you.
Where are your guys, man? Has anybody got the deep half? What the hell's going on, guys? Then they beat Boise State by 3 touchdowns. They beat NC State by 4 touchdowns. And after what NC State did to Georgia Tech this weekend, you're kind of like, was that at least a semi-okay win to beat NC State the way they did? They beat USC as well by 10 points. USC is a fairly quality team, not one of those top, playoff contender type teams, but they're good. although they could find their way into the playoff if a few things bounce right for them and they win out. And then they won at BC this weekend, this past weekend. They've got Navy, and then they've got Pitt and Syracuse to round out the season with Stanford on the road. It's not a super impressive schedule, but it's not necessarily as bad as maybe I would like to believe, or maybe as I have stated it to be. But again, we go back to what's your signature win when you look at this schedule? Is it the USC win? That's your signature win, is you beat a top 20 team, one top 20 team? Because your signature win isn't ahead of you. There are no other wins that would be a signature win. You had a chance for some signature wins with A&M and Miami early on, and you lost both of them. So it just starts to look like they're finding a way, and this goes back to the thing about the rankings. They basically put Notre Dame at 10th, the same way that they did last year, where they put them like just on the fringe. And it was basically a signal saying, hey, as long as you win out, you're in. Don't stub your toe. If you stub your toe, you give us the excuse to kick you out. They're not stubbing their toe against Navy. They're not going to lose to Pitt. I doubt there's any chance they come close to losing to Syracuse, and they're definitely not losing to Stanford. So I think we're stuck with another year of Notre Dame being in the playoff, barring some sort of miraculous upset.
Oh, 1,000%. They're absolutely going to be in the playoff unless they lose.
And it's going to cost a quality SEC or Big Ten team a spot. And it might even cost a Texas Tech or a BYU a spot.
Right. That's what they're pretty much saying. They're saying Notre Dame gets to stay no matter what, unless they lose, and they won't.
Yeah.
Why would they?
So that's why I hate the system the way it is.
And that's just kind of how it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
But we appreciate y'all for stopping by. Make sure to like, share, comment, subscribe. A big weekend of college football. I can't believe it's, like I said, we have college football in November. This is where the money is made for, preparing for the college football playoff, and conference championships are not so far off. But like I said, make sure everybody like, share, comment, subscribe for me and for Chad. This has been the South End Zone. We appreciate y'all.
Peace.
Ladies and gentlemen. Our intent was to eat. Our intent was to come eat and be hungry.
We're taking receipts, and we'll see you at the national championship.